All right. Well, welcome back to Post Frame 360. One of your hosts, Scott Cragg, along with, hopefully not offending anyone this week with football commentary, Josh Nowlin.
Hey, what's going on, Scott?
What's going on? Hey, and if you're watching online, you noticed that we've got an extra guest today. So today we have Jevon Wooden, and Jevon is with BrightMind, and he's going to be sharing with us kind of a little teaser for what he's going to bring to the NFBA, the National Frame Builders Association conference, coming up very, very soon. So as Josh mentioned a while back, we are going to be doing a series of segments in upcoming podcasts with some of the speakers from NFBA. NFBA is something, if you've never been, you really should go at least once. Not only having the opportunity to listen to some great speakers, but also just to network with some of the peers in post frame. So a lot of reasons to do that. But today we want to let Jevon tell you what he's going to bring. I have some a cheat sheet with some notes. By the way, guys, some of the stuff that he's going to talk about, we've talked about all year. So I'm excited. Jevon,
Before we jump in with Jevon, let me just mention. So there's really 2 days, right, of educational tracks at the NFBA, and I mentioned before they have business management, sales and marketing, safety, and technical. So those are like the 3 tracks, right? And so on Wednesday morning they start on level 3. I'm being told. And so if you're at the convention center, that's where they'll be. They start with breakfast at 7 a.m., I believe. And and then they jump right into the sessions. So Jevon is doing 2 sessions for us this year at the NFBA. And he is in the sales and marketing track, which is, of course, my favorite track.
Mine too.
Don't tell anybody of our other guests that, but no. So yeah, Jevon, we're excited to have you on here and tell us a little bit about, I kind of framed this up as like, tell us a little bit about yourself and BrightMind and who you are. And then as you talk to us about what you're going to be speaking about, is just give us that good overview, give our listeners, because when they're going to be standing there in the hallway eating breakfast, they're going to be looking at this door, that door, and that door. Why should they come in your door, Jevon?
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, appreciate you having me on, Scott and Josh. This is, it's an honor to share the platform with you. And then as far as like who I am, man, first of all, Army veteran for 12 years. So I understand, the culture and the industry of the construction space very well. I've done a lot of work in the construction space through coaching and speaking. And one of the things that I've come to know is the power of one of the talks I'm doing, which is empathetic leadership, and then the power of relational intelligence. A lot of us, we think about the transaction, but we forget about the human side of things. So that's what I'm really going to be focused in on when it comes to sales, because I hear it all the time, man. Everyone's like, man, how do I differentiate myself when everyone else does the same damn thing as I do? And I'm like, well, come to my session because that's what I'm going to be talking about. And it's not, a lot of people, they hear relationships and they hear empathy and they hear emotional intelligence and all that, and they think it's woo and it's fluff. I'm here to make it so it's operationalized, so you understand how you apply it to business to grow and scale smartly.
Oh, man.
You just said so much. I'm ready. Like,
no, I'm nerding out. Like, I am so nerding out right now, right? This is so good. Like you said, relational intelligence, and going beyond just the sell. And I'm going to have to be very, very careful here, man, because I could talk way too much because you've already got me fired up. And I'm not just saying that for the podcast.
I like to hear that.
This is so important, right? Because I think as builders, it's get the sale, go get it built, go to the next. And you have so much more opportunity as a business owner, as a builder, to invest in the lives of people. And how you do that is really, really important. So, yeah, man, great stuff. And by the way, thank you for your service, man. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So I'm going to point out one of the takeaways, the risk-trust equation. Help clients choose quality over lowest cost. Ooh, chill bumps.
We were just talking about that, weren't we, Scott, in our last podcast?
We did.
Man, I tell you that this is something that again, when I speak to construction owners and people in that space that's responsible for sales and closing business, that's something that they don't understand. They don't really realize because, quite frankly, most of us aren't trained to think about trust when you think about closing a deal. We think
Hmm.
about how do we make it sound great for that moment and how do we get that right. But if you think about that risk trust equation, they're looking at, okay, yes, great. You're going to build something for me. One, how do I know you're not going to run off with my money? Right. That's one thing that we hear about. How do I know you're
Right.
going to do a great job? How do I know you stand behind your product? And what
Mm,
they're going to look at is not what you have on your screen, what you have in your presentation, what you have in the deck. They're looking at you. You as that salesperson, you're the ambassador for that organization. So they're
mm,
developing rapport with you. If you leave a bad impression, now that company has a bad impression. Now they're not going to go with you. And then you don't just lose that one deal when you think about transaction only, you lose multiple deals, you lose future deals. So
mm,
that's what I'm talking about when you think about that risk trust equation is how do we ensure that we're establishing rapport? So we're not just a solution, but we're a partner. That's where I'm seeing a lot of the construction industry struggle. They may get like one thing, one good job, and then they're like wondering where they're going to eat because they just only focus on that one job instead of thinking about it long term, becoming a
yeah.
partner in the space.
Yeah. Man,
long term.
it's so good. Josh, I want to pull you into this. On one of the previous podcasts we did not too long ago, we were talking about uh, Josh was talking about having a bad experience at a fast food restaurant, but then he was talking about we all know who it is, right? Chick-fil-A, right? You go into Chick-fil-A and it's like this great customer service experience. And then I mentioned Apple. So the reason why I bring that up is something you just said. And we have another guest,
Sorry.
Josh's
They're
guard
agreeing with
dog.
you. Very, very passionate about what you're talking about right now.
Oh man, it's like who let the dogs there? But Josh, come on, man.
I'm
So
going to
no,
mute my microphone to
okay,
get through this.
yeah. If we go see a dog go flying through the background, we know what's going on. But no, we were talking about this idea of like Chick-fil-A, and then I brought up Apple. I mean, if you've never been to an Apple store, man, you walk in and you're like the only person that exists. And maybe they're busy, maybe they got a lot of people in front of you, but you're the only one that exists. And so the reason that comes to mind with what you just said, Javon, is the way that you treat your customer gives you the opportunity to establish your competitive distinction. We may think about competitive distinction of, oh, I build a better building or no, no, it starts with you, right? Like
Absolutely.
what type of experience is that prospective customer going to get from you? Are you going to be attentive? Are you going to ask the right questions? Are you going to return the phone calls? Are you going to do what you say you're going to do? Do you go above and beyond? Um, so is what I just said, does that fall in the same vein?
Absolutely, absolutely, man. And what's interesting? You said you could build a better building and you can have a great portfolio, but you're not going to get that opportunity if you don't do exactly what you said. We have to think about the customer journey and the approach.
Mm,
And when I say that, they need to feel like you understand them, and you seeking to understand them at every phase of the process. And it
mm,
starts with that onboarding. It starts with that conversation, the discovery call, as we call it in my industry, understanding, not talking about how amazing you are as a builder, but
mm,
understanding exactly how you are going to ensure that their vision comes to life. You're going to ensure that the functionality they're looking for comes to life. And it's not just for now, that it lasts into the future.
mm,
So that's something that a lot of us miss as salespeople, especially in the construction industry, simply because we're eager to work. We're eager to get the job done. We're doers. And I get
right,
it,
right.
right? We're doers, but there's another component to being a doer is making sure that you're doing it not with your agenda in mind, but with that client's agenda in mind. You have
Mm.
to make sure that you can paint that picture for them, that they feel that they understand, that you understand, and that they can trust you to get it done.
Yeah. I'm not gonna put you in a position to give away any spoilers, but I certainly want you to have the opportunity to give away some teases, right? Some teasers. Customer journey. I love that. I don't hear that term a lot, but it's such a great term. So in your session, are you gonna give some examples? Maybe that the word customer journey is brand new to one of our listeners right now, and they're gonna be coming to NFBA. Will you give some examples for them to think through what you just said? What does for them, what does it mean to sit down and discover and plan out the customer journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give them a framework, and when you come to the session, you'll even get a handout. It's free. You won't have to put in an email address or any of that, because I also believe in the power of implementation. A lot of times we come to the conferences and we're like, "Wow, that was amazing. What was said?" And then we don't do anything with
Right.
that information. So I
Yeah.
want you to have that takeaway, so you can go to your team and say, "Hey, we're going to implement this care framework, which is what I labeled it, and it's going to walk you
Mm.
through ensuring that from that conversation onto when you're working with that client on multiple deals and buildings, that you're going to ensure that their customer journey, their experience is one of excellence, and they're going to start to see you as the solution, and your name is going to be synonymous with getting it done versus just being an option."
Oh, man. Josh, are you as giddy as I am?
Man, I am. He's definitely selling us on his door. I mean, I have to say,
Relationships.
yeah,
Right.
100%. No, this is really good stuff, and it's right along the lines of spoken a little differently, more
Mhm,
professionally
mhm.
from Jevon, but these are the discussions we've been having on our podcast, and I'm so excited about it. And to our listeners, our builders that are listening and are going to be making that choice. First of all, you have a choice to make on Wednesday evening, okay?
Mhm.
The Plyco reception runs from 8 to midnight. Now, I'm not promoting the reception, but there's free alcohol here, okay?
Whoa, whoa,
I've
whoa.
seen
No, no,
too
no, no. Hey, hey, hey.
no, I've seen too
No,
many people stumble out of this thing at midnight,
that's
okay?
what we can't do that.
Jevon is on at 8 a.m. on Thursday morning on the 3rd floor. There's breakfast, but he's on at 8. So
Don't
stumble
show
out
up
at
on a bender.
10:30 and
What
drink a lot
Josh
of
is
water.
saying is don't show up hungover, delirious, and expect to represent yourself well.
Well, here's what I say to that, gents. If you by chance partake a little too much, all I'm asking is for you to be present for that hour of that session. Take it
Mhm.
1 minute at a time, but I'm going to energize you either way. If you come in there hungover, get you some caffeine in you, but I'm going to make sure that you are caffeinated very well just by what I'm going to give you in that session.
All right. So here's
Mhm.
my commitment. So Javon, I'm already sold. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in your session. I will personally have the ice cold water cannon at the back. I see anyone nodding off, not paying attention. Bam! Like it's happening.
I love it. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. See,
Yeah.
that's what I love, the
And here's
support.
how I hold myself accountable, Jevon, is soon. So I'm on the board. So the board members, one of our duties is to sign up to introduce speakers during the educational sessions. And I learned just a few years ago to hold myself accountable on this Wednesday night event is to sign up for something early that I'm responsible for the next morning. So
I like it.
maybe I'll sign up to introduce you as a speaker there at 8 a.m. and that'll hold me accountable.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that very much. And my accountability to you all is to ensure that I'm giving you what we're talking about here, but it's going to be so much more. And I'll ensure that I stick around so we can have discussions and answer some of the questions that you all may have once you
Mhm,
attend.
mhm.
That's fantastic. So another takeaway, I love this one. Something else that we've talked about a lot, and when I say that we've talked about this, it's not like, oh, we've talked about it, so you don't need to listen to Javon. That here's the thing, like the fact that he's talking about this. If you listen to our previous podcast, we had a special speaker come in last week. Guys, when Josh and I talk about foundational business principles, we're not just here trying to figure out a topic to kill time. Like there are two things that are like, if you're not making these priority by now, you should, or I can't guarantee the certainty of the future of your company. Need to understand your business principles, foundations. Where does my money go? Don't overspend it. Don't spend what you don't have. Like the foundational business principles. But then the other part is this. It's what he's talking about is that customer experience, what you bring to your customer, what makes you different. So one of the other key takeaways is is beyond specs, shift conversations from price to long-term value. Bro, like, can you
Mhm.
give me something on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Price is why many of us say that, I'm building the same thing. How do I differentiate myself? Because we're competing on price. When we talk about value, it goes to tie into what we talked about earlier. It's not just they they'll pay whatever if they ensure that you're going to get some quality work, but also that they're going to be treated well. You
Mm,
mentioned Apple earlier, how they could be super busy, but when you walk into that store, you feel like you're the only one. That's
Right.
how we should be thinking about our businesses. It
mm,
shouldn't be that if someone calls, like you're ignoring them and talking to someone in the background. You need to be attentive. You shouldn't be checking your watch if you're in a meeting talking to that client. There's certain things that people pay attention to that instantly turns them off. And we
mhm.
have to be cognizant of that throughout that customer journey. So if I onboard you, I also can't forget about you. And this is
Mm,
where we get into trouble, right? We
Right.
get the deal and we're like, man, I finally closed that. We're good. We're good for the year, or we're good for whatever. Hey guys, we have some work. But then when it's time to deliver, you start to forget about that client and they're like, man, I should have went with that other company. The other
Yes.
company, their staff seemed like they were going to take care of me and treat me human. You want to give that extra bit of care. Again, that's the framework I'll be giving. I can't give you all that. You got to be in a session. But
That's
that
right.
care, that word care, it goes beyond just a feeling, it's an action. And you have to
Mm,
make sure that they feel those actions. You have to ensure that if they have a question that needs to be addressed, you're there to address that question. If they have reservations, you're there to make sure you answer those so they're not feeling that fear.
yeah.
Because what we know is that when someone is hesitant or they're apprehensive, it's not typically because of price. It's very rare that price is the reason. It is
Yes.
because you have not explained the value well enough. So we have to look at that and stop asking, man, we're the best of the business. We've been here around for 100 years. No one
mhm.
cares. It's
Yeah.
how are you going to treat me today and as we work through this project and into the future. That's what
Mm,
they're going to care about. So that's something that I'm going to really drill deep in the session, because I know that value proposition, not when I'm looking to get the sale, but after I get the sale, that's where people are really, really losing, and people get that buyer's remorse.
yeah. Yeah. What the old saying, right? And I'll let you guys finish the end. You only get one chance to make a great first
Mhm.
Impression.
impression,
Yeah,
Impression.
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. And so how you present yourself, and I love what you said there. Like if you show up and you're like, oh yeah, I'm the best, I'm the, and then they sign with you and they don't hear from you again until you start the project. I'm telling you right now, you have a customer who is very, very uneasy about the decision they made.
Yep.
That's one of the
Yep.
things that we talk about, when you think about your jobs, guys. So you've worked with the customer, put a quote together, you send it to them, you get the deal, and then they don't hear from you again. We show up and we drop materials on your job site. You don't go and check them, right? And I'm not trying to chastise you, but I'm really trying to give some concrete blocks to what Javon is saying here, man. Like, use every opportunity you have to show the customer that you aren't there just to get their money. Like, you have the
Absolutely.
opportunity to build relationships. And the stronger you build that relationship, in the long run, the easier your job becomes because now you've got a built in someone that will refer you. And I value this, with my own company that I owned and whenever I was with my previous company, um, I made sure for multiple reasons. One, it's authenticity. Authentically, I cared about the people I was working for and asking money from, right? Number 2, I took pride in the product that I represented. Number 3 is I like to take prospective future buyers on building tours. So there was so much value that I brought to that customer by staying engaged, but there was so much value that they brought to me when we built a relationship.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's symbiotic, right? If I
Yeah.
treat you well, they're gonna want to go above and beyond for you as well, and that's something that we don't take advantage of. So a
Mhm.
lot of what we're talking about here, some of this can be automated too. I know some folks listening
Mm,
like, I don't have time to do all this stuff. Yes, you do.
yeah.
Yes, you do. And another thing is, it's not just you by yourself. You have a company. Your whole organization are ambassadors for your brand. So if
Mm,
you're doing the work, if you're in the back office, no matter where you are a representative. So you also have to ensure your team has that executive presence that I'm going to be talking about in this in my session too, to develop those relationships. And one thing you mentioned is being able to take them on tours and back office. It's like your client, if you ask them, they'll tell you exactly what will make them feel special. They will
mm.
tell you exactly what they want, and you should be asking that. And
I
then at
love it.
the end, they're going to want to give a testimonial. They're going to want to give referrals. And
Mm,
I have a
mm,
framework that I use called the 5 Why framework. And the last thing is yearn. You want people to yearn to work with you. You want people to love everything about what you do so much that they want to scream your name from the rooftops. And that goes for your employees and colleagues and to your clients, right? So we have to stop looking and being so short-sighted, and being so eager to get the transaction, and start understanding that the transformation is going to occur when you become that long-term partner and develop that relationship, that rapport with them.
mm.
You
That's
know,
good
I just
stuff.
got a little bit of chills down my spine there. It's just, the things you're saying, we're doing this podcast, we do it for our customers, and we're promoting the NFBA, and you guys should be present and you should pick Javon's class. And I'm sitting here thinking everything you're saying, I'm tying it to our own business at
Mhm,
Burroughs, right?
mhm,
Scott runs our customer service team. And we spend a lot of time talking about answering the phone, making sure your customers are taken care of. And one of my pet peeves is when a client calls me, and they say, "Oh, I know you're busy. I'm sorry to bother you." And the first thing I say is, "You are not, wait right there. You are not bothering me." "Oh, of
right.
course I'm busy. We're all busy. Everybody has things going on, but nothing's more important than talking to you right now."
Mhm,
And
Absolutely.
our
Love
customer
that.
service team, our management, our leadership team, we all need to be thinking that way and acting that way. Because what you said is true. Our clients need to think they're our only client, right?
mhm,
Yes.
They're the only
Definitely.
one that matters. And they are when you're talking to them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many systems these days that can make sure that you are checking in with that client. And that's another thing that I'm seeing, organizations in this space just not investing in those systems. And
Hmm.
we have to start looking at those investments as a part of the legacy, because that's what's going to get you to that future version of your business. If you don't invest now, you're going to get left behind later. So you have to make sure you're investing in your people, and that's clients and employees once again in your systems, because I think it's who said it, James Clear, when he said you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So that's
mm,
how we have to start looking and operating in our daily operations.
mm. Something you just said there, if you don't invest now, you're gonna fall behind later.
Hmm.
That is good. Like, guys,
I just
really,
wrote that down on my
yeah,
notepad.
let that one sink in for a little bit, right? Like, let it sink in, and the way I receive that, invest. What are you gonna invest in? Are you gonna invest in taking time if you're not great at foundational business principles, are you going to invest in learning, "What do I gotta do right? Are you gonna invest in learning, um, how to take care of your employees? I'm not saying you don't, but that idea of investing, where is there a deficiency? And here's the thing, guys, you don't have to know it all, right? I'm not saying you gotta be an expert, but what you should be able to do is identify, where have I been not investing? Where have I allowed my business to manage me rather than me managing my business? Because that's what this is about, right? Like, and we talked about this last week at our conference we had is, if you find yourself in a position where you're answering to your business, like you're just trying to hang on, you got to stop.
Mm,
You should be managing your business. If you're in a position where your business is managing you, then you got a problem. So investing in these types of things, other business leaders, you know, things like NFBA, these are great investments. And if you're like, well, but I got to be out in the field, I got to be working and I don't have the money. Well, I'm going to take it back to what he just said. If you're not investing now, you're going to fall behind in the future. Man, that's good.
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. No, it's and thank you for really elaborating on that. And being in an association and attending conferences like the NFBA, that's like a great way to kind of just take yourself up to the next level. But not just attending and being a member, getting involved in what's actually going on. I go to a lot of these conferences. I speak at a lot of conferences, and I see a lot of folks going to the happy hours and putting their all into the happy hours and stuff like that, like you were talking about. But when it comes to the actual learnings and networking, I see them on their phone all day, or they're leaving the sessions early. They're not asking questions. So I recommend, if you are there or you're part of any association and conference, make sure you are present. Like, be in that moment. You will not get the moment back. So take advantage.
Yeah. Okay, I'm
Good,
gonna
good advice.
something you said, and man, guys, if you're gonna take the time to be at the NFBA, if you're gonna take time away from your company, from the job sites, and from your customers, you need to have a plan right now. He said it, and I'm going to just try to drive it home. When you show up at the NFBA, turn your phone off. Okay, make time to check calls. But when you're in these meetings, right, you can plan. Make sure you know how to set a greeting on your phone. Hey, thank you so much for calling. Just want to let you know I'm at the National Frame Builders Association. I'm out here once a year to better grow my company and to learn how I can better serve you as your contractor. I will return your call at my earliest convenience. But man, don't sit there, oh, my watch. Oh, you're going to miss out. Why would you take
Yes.
time away from your company and spend the money to not get these nuggets of knowledge, right? Like, just do it. I have something that I participate in multiple times a year, and something that we do, as soon as you check in, your phone's off. And we tell everyone, keep each other accountable. If you see someone on the phone, go, hey, turn it off, bud. So you may not have to be that aggressive, but I'm telling you, don't waste this opportunity by distraction.
Absolutely.
Be there, be focused, hear this stuff. And note takers are difference makers.
Mm-hmm.
Bring a notebook,
Agreed.
make notes, take this back and soak in it. So, Josh, Jevon, final words, and we're going to close this out.
Jevon, I'll let you go first, and then I'll jump in there.
Yeah, my final words, I'm very excited to see everyone at the conference, and make sure, like we can't express it enough. Ensure that you, before you even get there, you plan out what you're looking to get. How do
Mhm.
you know it was a success for you? What are you looking to learn? Is there someone, if there's an app, look on the app, see who you want to network with and connect with. Like, really, really, really invest everything you can into this time period, because the goal is to be 1% better every day, and you'll get compounding interest from that. So I look forward to seeing you all at the conference.
That was good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really good. So I'll just say it again. Thursday morning, 8 a.m., Jevon's first session, room C and D. And then right after that, there's a little bit of break. Grab a cup of coffee. If you're in his first class and you want to go to his second class, same room right after that, you can leave your stuff on the table, but
Mhm.
go out of the room, come back in, get your badge scanned again. That way you get your credits, your CEUs for being in the class, and everybody knows and if you're a worker, your boss knows you were there. Okay. Get the credits. Bring your notepad. If you need any help, you don't understand how to register, where it's at, Oklahoma City, downtown, um, you know, feel free to reach out to me. You all have my email address, joshin@burrows-supply.com. And if you like what you heard today, don't forget to like and subscribe to us. Be sure to share this podcast with your network. And we thank you for your time. Jevon, it was great. I cannot wait to meet you in person. We're just a little over a month away now.
Yeah,
So,
likewise.
looking forward to it.
Likewise. Super excited to meet you in person, gents. And yeah, looking forward to it. Let's chop it up when we get to the conference.
I love it, man. We'll make it happen. All right, guys.
Right.
See you in the next episode of Post Frame 360.